All right, so we got this thing, got the Camaro on the Dyna pack, and this is our second time using it, and it's a little tricky to get it lined up. I think with time we'll get it figured out a lot better, but we've run it, put some time on it to get the drivetrain warmed up, checked everything, and we're gonna do a couple of pulls, see how this all goes. And so today's really just I mean, we're obviously dynoing the car to kind of see the horsepower ratings and the tune and stuff on it, but really kind of a learning experience with the dyno itself as well. So along the right.
.545, 530 foot-pounds. Shut her off.
So I was looking at the air fuel ratios. Air fuel ratios look beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed this dyno video. I'm going to go over a couple of things that I kind of figured out on the dyno and why you use a dyno. Running after putting some miles on the car, doing actually a couple autocross events and street driving and stuff. The car felt like it had great power. Everything, all the feedback from data logs and just monitoring everything seemed to be really good. Until we put it on the dyno and you go, well, gosh, it made 555 horsepower and almost 540 foot-pounds of torque, which was actually more than what I really thought the car would, the motor would make. But one of the things that we figured out was it made peak power at only 5,830 RPMs or something like that. And so well, why? Why was the peak horsepower so low? And you go, well, talk to people and said, well, first call was comp cams. Comp cam said, well, maybe you installed the cam too advanced, so your power band is down low. Well, let me look here. It made peak torque at 4,691 RPMs. That's going to tell me that that's probably not the case. We degreed the cam in. I degreed the cam in when I built the engine. So one of the things that I looked at were things like air fuel ratio. Was it going lean? Was it going rich? Was it doing anything? We got full data logs that basically you can replay the run electronically, find out what all the sensors were doing, what the engine was doing, and everything looked pretty good. Actually, everything looked really on spot, what it reasonably should be. Because if it's going to drop power almost 1,000 RPMs lower than what the engine really should be, this thing should be making peak power at least 65, 66, 67, 6,800 RPMs, no problem. And it revved cleanly up to 7,000 RPMs. It wasn't lumbering. It wasn't sounding funny. I mean, it revved quick. hit 7 grand, hit the limiter. So one of the things you notice if you watch the video again and you listen closely, after running the car really hard, the valve train was really clattery, and that's kind of what that sound is. And after talking to Chris Straub at Straub Performance, this motor has a set of Morel high RPM lifters in it, and first questions were, do you have the right oil in it? If you run too thick of oil, the lifters don't function right. They're hydraulic rollers. And so we went round and around and discussed some things, and we realized that most likely there's a couple of things going on. It's all related to the lifter itself. So what's happening with the lifter most likely, and we're going to get this thing back on the dyno, there'll be a part 2 to this video, so is there's aeration in the oil due to windage. I may have had the crankcase a little too full. The lifters might not quite have been broke in yet. They're very tight tolerance. And so what happens is when you get aeration in the oil in the lifter collapses. The plunger in the lifter collapses. And so basically it's running out of camshaft. So it was hitting RPM, it's losing lift, and if it's losing lift, it's losing duration as well. So it ran out of camshaft. So part 2 is going to be kind of interesting if we get this thing all sorted out. This thing's gonna make a lot of horsepower. So I mean, the power is amazing as it is, but when we can rev this thing out another 800 plus RPMs, it's really gonna be pretty significant. So we'll have to watch and see. And I'm gonna point out here, if I can get the camera on there, is here's peak power at 58, and then it drops off, and it's not a horrible drop off, but it really should just continue up. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at. We're gonna get this thing on the dyno, on the hub dyno again, on the Dynapack, and run it. So what we've done, I guess I should tell you, maybe I'll save that for the next video of what we've done. So we've done a few things, minor changes to the valve train setup that hopefully is going to be a quick remedy and not a big ordeal. So hey, keep watching. This will probably be one of the last videos we do on the build of the car. We're pretty much done, and we've done some of autocross events, and we're get some track events going on soon. But stay tuned. Hopefully we'll get the car back on the dyno here really quick and find out really what the peak number is, because this thing's a monster and it makes great power, and really happy with it so far. Car seems to work really well. So thanks for watching. Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave comments too. I appreciate that. I like hearing from you guys. So thanks a lot.